Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our webcast for Friday at lunchtime. Just let me mute my phone. Sorry about that. Thanks for joining us. Today's session, we're going to talk about how to import the items from a bid that's already been awarded to you. And we're going to show the details of how to get that into your tendering system for field progress reporting. So I'm recording the session. I've muted everybody. If you have any questions, you can use the chat window and I can answer your questions during the session. So if we go to our agenda here, it's kind of a long agenda. Probably I wrote it when I was thinking about all the things I wanted to cover. We can go through each one and ultimately we'll see how all of this connects to a project that you've already been awarded. So that's the best part about Builterra is you don't have to use a city catalog. You can just import it right from Excel and get going in the field to do your progress payment reporting. So if we're looking at the process today, I always like to do this during the webcast because it will show what we're focusing on in the process. So this is what we're going to focus on today. And hopefully we can get through it in the next 45 minutes or so. Again, Builterra is the platform we're talking about. It's an online portal which stores all your project information. I also like to do this on every webcast in case you're new to the product. Showing inspection data, doing some theming and export to Excel and GIS. Photo reports is one of the very popular things with it. So you can review all your photos online in a single portal. The tendering system, of course, holds all of the schedule unit prices information and allows you to attach documents for bidding and doing comparisons of bidding and analysis. The editor will be looking at that today from a real simplistic point of view. This is a more complex view of how the tendering system can be used for land development where you have lots of properties and you want to put together tenders from the properties from a drawing, for example. And cost estimating, again, all done through the single interface. So you can click on an item that you've added or dragged and dropped and see immediately what the prices are. Everything exports to Excel. We have very tight integration with importing and exporting from Excel. So the bidders would then add their pricing and you would be skimming that pricing in order to do these estimates. So it's a very integrated system right from start to finish. If we start off with our presentation today, I've done past presentations where it's a very complex, city sort of catalog with lots of items and it's all very formalized. Today we're going to look at how do we get a job. All we have is the item description, the unit type, the quantity, and the price of it. How do we get that into the system to get started in the field? So the very first thing is, and I'll show this live, I'll just kind of show a little demo, is we need to set up a rapid entry item. You can call it whatever you want, maybe project items, but I always like to have just at least a placeholder in my system where you can simply create this framework where you have a units and a quantity as a default field on top of the item code and description. So if you want to add a spec number, you could do that here as well. So you could import the spec numbers from an existing contract. Oh, okay. So the idea now is that you would add a single item called any code and any description. This kind of sets up at least one item that if you had to use it later on for change orders, which we'll take a quick look at today, this is something where you can very quickly add to an existing progress certificate, knowing that there's a rapid entry table available for just real quick entry. And we'll get to that in a second. So what happens here is we can hook up the manual entry pay item type to the catalog to make it very simple. So when the quantity field is set for manual, then the item code description, the quantity, and the units are all assumed. So you would type in whatever units you want, whatever quantity you want. It has nothing, you don't pre-assign the table to the type of thing you're doing. In other words, very much like Excel, the manual entry setup. And that comes with every account that we do. We always add a number of different pay item types. And in this case, the manual entry is available as soon as you get the system. And this is where if you wanted to add the spec code to the description of the item, you could type in spec as part of the description in the tender. So you could actually use that ultimately in your tender. Okay. The cost estimate query, if you have item codes or unique item codes for the city, you might want to use them, and you can use them for cost estimating in your own system later on. So in the manual entry pay item table, there's at least one cost estimate query set up where it will match item code as the exact match and produce any other, give you an estimate based on the item code property of the item. So this is how this is sort of the under the hood view of the product, and this is where what we do for cities and clients that are using it. We'll help get all of this set up so they don't have to get into all the details if they don't want to. Okay, so there's the way we set it up. There's no programming when you do these cost estimates. It's all very easy to follow once you know how to do it. So the tender section manager, this is where you set up say templates, and the templates can be very elaborate. You could say, well, it's a resurfacing job. We're going to set up it the same way every time, and it's going to have these groups, section groups. It's going to have these tables, which is great. We can handle that. But when you're importing it from a city, you really don't know what you're going to get. It could be anything. There's no specific standard maybe. So we're going to kind of go through how to set this up just for random items from the imported project data. So again, you can add some tendering details. This is more for if you're formalizing the way you want to create a bid package. So this was from another previous slideshow that I had done. Okay, so for the project import, I called it. This is so like I said, you can have multiple templates depending on what contract you're doing. You can have site plans, subdivisions, and earthworks contracts. So whatever you feel is a standard thing that you do, including, say, project import. So you can import the items just ad hoc, right from Excel, essentially. And so all I've done here is created a project import template, and I've added one table called item table. So you can copy this and rename it when you're in the actual project tender itself. Okay, so this is where you get to connect the rapid entry catalog with that single table to the manual entry pay item group, and you get to tell it how to set up the cost estimating system here. So this is done just once, and I've already done it in my system. I never have to do it again, and it's ready for any project that I want to import the items to. So when you create a tender, this is where you specify everything as if it was a normal active tender. The only difference is we're going to call it historical. Historical allows you to put in the bidder, the awarded bidder, and the pricing for the tender. So typically this would be used, say if you had bought the tendering system and you want to put in an old job, or you want to put in old pricing to get your price cost estimating up to speed, you can call it a historical, and you can build a tender as if it was a real job, but then you get to put in the pricing, and that's a great way to test a tender, or your tender template to make sure all the items are there and it's all up to speed. So the other thing is we use it to specifically allow people to put in pricing and then immediately award it for the field staff. So historical is a very, make sure you select that if you're doing this, maybe this week or next week. So the closing date, because it's historical, it has to be in the past. So you have to pick something, in the past. This always defaults to a month in advance, so make sure you check that. The template, in this case, we're going to use project import. So this is, that rapid entry system that we were talking about. So once you create the template or the tender, say under this project called School and Park, I've got a couple other tenders in there as samples, but this is the park one that I just created. And we can demo this live in a second. And it just creates an empty framework for a tender right there. So it's not much to it. So once you go to the edit sections option for the tender, you can see that it's just strictly the park tender and a item table. So there's 3 new ways to add data, and I'll go through it live with you guys so you can understand what we've done. There's assigning the table to a catalog table. That's sort of a default that we built early on when we first released the system. And then we had a search system, so you could click a search bar and then type in the word bonding in this case, and all your bonding items come up. And then you just drag and drop the bonding in. You set the quantity and the unit type. If you've preset the quantity and unit type in the catalog, it'll automatically come in. If you haven't set it in the catalog, then it won't know what to do. So you have to specify the units. So in a lot of city systems, they've already got a catalog that has all of the quantity defaults and unit types preset. So in this case, you should get all of your units dragging and dropping right away. If you don't, then you have to go back to the catalog and make some adjustments. Okay, so once you drag it in, you'll build up the first item in the list. So if we take a look at that live, let's do that live. So this is the system, and we'll just keep a check on our time here. Okay, we've got lots of time. So I released the webcast saying that we could do it in 30 minutes. We could probably even do it faster if we had no interruptions, but I'll show you how the process looks. So when you go to log in, I'm already logged into my demo account. For projects, if I pick the project, and if I type in school, this is just sort of a review of the site, and it'll bring up all my school sites, just like that. So I can pick, say, the School and Park. I was interested in that as my item here. So it's just loading the location of that right now. Any pictures or photos or custom details all would have been here. Just as a highlight, and we will do a webcast very soon, actually, maybe even a special webcast, is we put 2 new features in here. One was the tasks, and so you can assign tasks, and a push notification comes over the phone to those in the field, and you can say, you could say something like, if I hit the add button, it'll say, go and check out the culverts or something. Some kind of a task for the field guy. So you can say it's a culvert inspect, and say, please get inverts. So this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it's a nice little opportunity to show it off. So please get inverts on, northeast west culvert or something. Just something like that. And you can assign it to a particular person. If you don't assign it to anybody, then the push gets sent out the entire inspection team. So when you go ahead and add that, you get a push notification on your system, and it'll say, hey, you better do this, right? So it's kind of a great way to do that kind of thing. The files feature we just added that recently, was you can add drawings in PDF format to the system. If I go ahead and view it, it'll show the PDF. Just give it a second. So there's our site. So we have that now, so it'll come out on the Apple devices and soon to come out on Android. And the concept here is that very quickly you can grab any document you want that's been uploaded and mark it up on your phone and send it back with the inspection data. So that's just something we're actively working on, and it's really exciting for us to do that. So you imagine you're out doing a progress certification, you take some pictures, maybe you mark up a drawing. Now the contract administrator knows the exact culvert that you were inspecting and approving, so this sort of thing. Okay, so that's a little bit of marketing. If I head to the actual tender now, okay, so if I said new tender for this particular project, I can click new tender. So we can go ahead and pick the school and park. We'll set up a brand new one just for fun. And again, we'll set up the historical, and we'll say it's tender 2, 2018 or something. Okay, and we'll say it's a park landscape job. Okay, we will go back in time, say it was awarded on January 1st, and we can now pick this project import. That was the template I had set up previous to the webcast. So when I go ahead and create that, it's very quick because there's actually hardly anything in it. So the park landscape has been created. When I go to edit the sections right there, I can pick the item table, and you're thinking, okay, so I can just add ad hoc items. So you could go to configuration. You can say this is the site prep or something like this. This is just an example of the different, I'll show you the data entry styles here. So if you want, you can assign another catalog. So we've got a couple catalogs in here, I think. So just pick that again. And I think it's on another screen. There it is. So you can assign any catalog you want. So if it was a municipal standard catalog, I could pick it here. And then I could pick one of the, it's probably querying the section tables right now, but basically you can assign the, let me go back to that one there. Okay, say getting started metric. Okay, we'll pick that guy and save it. Oh, it's doing it. We'll just go right to the search. So it's now searching that catalog I just selected. So if I pick, site prep like this, it might come up with something, it might not. You could say dust suppression. So there's some dust suppression right there. So these are just random items that I'm picking. So you could grab all that dust suppression and push it over like that. And depending on your unit types and quantity, you could say it's meters cubed and maybe a bunch of water in there. I don't know. Dust control, dust provided. So you could say it's a 1 and a lump sum. So you'd want to pre-assign this in your catalog. And okay, let's say something like that. So now it's all been set up. If there is any kind of a pricing estimate here, it would have come up in the cost estimating window. So if you had a matched unit code here, then it would come up in cost estimating. As far as pricing goes, what you want to do is, if you wanted to add the pricing for the site prep, you'd say add a bidder. And if you knew the bidder, say it's ABC, contracting, there it is. You can go ahead and add it, and then you can type in, well, what's the price for this? So you could type in it's $12 a cubic meter or something, and it would do all this automatically, right? And so like that. So then you'd have your running total. Now you definitely want to check with whatever they submitted, make sure all the dollars and cents match up. But essentially that's how you would add it manually. So we have a new system also for picking from a catalog. So check that out. So basically you can select this whole catalog item and then pick through and add a number of things to the catalog. So just give that a second to boot up. There it is. So you can say, well, there's a bunch of things that I want to select. So maybe, again, site preparation. Maybe you go through here and you can pick some site trailers, some vibration, you know, this idea. Pick this guy here, maybe a road sweeper. And then you just hit the plus symbol. So now I've just added all of that. And you see some of the catalog items actually have the items in it. So that's what you really want. So most of the cities that we deal with would have all of that preset, right? And so you don't want to be messing around with that afterwards, right? So if you go to cost estimate now, see how it's actually cost estimating here because there was some previous data for this. And if you look under details, it'll show you all of the previous data that was in the system. So just give that a second to load. And so this is how you do it manually. But of course, that's pretty slow if you've got a big contract for the city and you don't want to, if you don't have all their items, it could take a while. So there's the estimate for the dust or the site trailer. So what you want to do is you want to go to the import. That's where you're going to be able to really streamline this idea. So if you go to pay items, we're just going to clear all that off because that was a test. We go to import and there's this Excel import right here. So if you said empty template, it produces an empty template called site prep right there, just in your downloads folder. So when you open up this Excel spreadsheet, you'll see right away, it has the fields that or whatever's in the pay item list. So including ABC contracting. If you had another bidder, maybe, you know, XYZ contracting, you could actually add them as, you know, another list here. So this is how you would add data very quickly and then maybe do a comparison between the two contractors. So if we take an actual job, this is a City of Toronto project here, and they have Site A requirements. They've got a water main, they've got water services, so tons of items, right? And of course, you wouldn't want to type those in by hand. So what you can do is, and I'm not the greatest at cutting and pasting, but what we'll do is we'll go to our empty one and we'll park it over here. So now all we have to do is take these items and push it into the other port. So site requirements, if I was to copy all of that just by doing a cut and paste, pull it in here, Control V, and I can just go through the unit types. Again, you can do this, Control Copy and Control V. And then there's the quantity itself. I see that there's some strange quantities in there. So I can Control V, and I can just do sort of a 1, a 1, a 1, a 1, like this. So you'd want to somehow get these to be number fields. That's the quantity, not the oh, that was the unit price. I'm sorry. See, I told you I'm not that sharp when it comes to cutting and pasting. So just go back to the lump sum again. Oh, there it is. And then quantity is here. Yeah, that's why I pay other guys to do this, because I'm getting old. Control Copy, put in the quantity. And I'm recording this, of course, so who knows who's watching, right? So so we can put that in there, and I don't know why those are 0. Probably, and I'll just paste this kind of thing there. That's better. That's better. Okay, paste the value, and we'll go to the unit price. So you just got to get up to speed, and again, we'll just paste value because who knows what's causing that. So I noticed that the pricing for this is kind of here. So you can kind of cut and paste that and put it into there. And yeah, that's the price there, isn't it, Jeff? There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. So there's your pricing. So we go ahead and save that, and we'll just shut that down for now. We don't need to mess with this anymore. So I've got it all in there, and I can just do an upload template. So really, that's what you want to do. So you get all your templates straightened out. Now it's important that you use these templates because they're all encoded with the project number, the bid number, and all the information we need to be able to import it quickly. So there is everything. You want to check to make sure you cut and pasted properly, and then you do an import. So once that's done, you can check your pricing here, and that should match whatever was in the contract. All right. So that's very important, by the way. You don't want to be messing with this halfway through the project. So that's good. If you have item codes, put them in, and then you can use them for cost estimating later. So when you create a new table, you can just pick this one, and you can copy it. So there's a duplicate here. So the next one would have been the water main items. So I can pick this, and when you hit this button, it kind of refreshes the screen. You can go to the water main. Okay, they're looking good. Hit save. And we don't care about all these items. You can clear them. So depends on how you want to organize things. You can make them all first and then do all your imports, or you can so if I did an empty on the water main, let's see if I can get a little bit faster here because I was touting that I could do this in less than 30 minutes. So we'll go ahead and hit enable. Yeah. All right. Excel is, I don't know what it's doing. Control this. And Alt Tab. We'll go to my folders, the downloads. There's the water main right there. And I'll just turn off my Excel. Something's happening with that. Okay. And there it is. It just came up. Nice. Love Windows. So I'll enable the editing. There's all my water main items ready for import. So close that. And again, we'll Control Delete. Make sure I have that straightened out. In the task. Yeah. And try that again. So empty template. There's my water main. It opens up perfectly in Excel now again. Enable. And then we'll go to my demo data set, which I had all ready to go. Sorry about the delay here. Marketing. There it is, looking good. So we'll just park that over here. Okay, so there's our water main items. So we can grab all of these items. There's quite a few of them, eh? Control copy, put them into here, Control V. The quantity, again, maybe we'll do the units here. Looking good. Control copy, go to the units, Control V. Go to unit price. It takes a minute to do this, eh? There, live demo, Control copy. And that was the unit price. So we'll do that. And basically the quantity, we got to get this. There we go. Looking good. Control copy, and the quantity, there it is. All right, so that's everything we need. Doesn't look great, but it works. Puts this in, close this off, go to here, and then upload. So we can now upload the template and hopefully the numbers. So there's the quantity, the units, and the pricing. So I just include everything and hit the import. So now I've got two full sections in a few minutes with all of the pricing. That's what we need right there. So when we wanted to, so after you finish your project, importing everything, then you go back out to the tendering system and it'll show these categories, which looks good. You can download the original bid here. This is our version of the spreadsheet. Just comes out in our generic format. And so when you open that up, it comes in, and it's a good way to check your numbers, because this is how the payment certificate will look as well if you haven't got a custom view of it. And there's my Excel acting funny again. It's a little bit odd, isn't it? Yeah, we'll just kill that. So basically, we'll just stop that. There you go, enable editing. Go back to here. So you get the Excel spreadsheet, and it should be exact to the penny. So the next step is you want to award this to yourself. So you go to edit the tender here, and you can go to bidders, and that's the awarded, that's the tender there. So now what you'll do is you'll award it right here. Once you award it, you can go back to the tenders, and it's now available for the field guys. So if we take a look at our phone, and I've got this pretty much set up, I just have to sync it, I believe. So here, we'll just go back to my my visor. That's what I end up using. And we'll say select. Okay, so it's going to boot up my phone on the screen here, and looking good. The idea is that in the inspection portal, there's the inspections here, and we'll let that kind of boot up here for a second. So under landscape, the school and park, there's daily inspections, and that will load any daily reports for that particular project, right? So there's already some dailies that have, you know, and some photos here. Okay. Under the daily, though, we're going to attach it to the tender we just did the built one. So first thing we have to do is we have to sync the phone just to make sure we have all of the most recent data, including any tenders that were awarded. If you're close to the site, you can hit this target button. It'll actually zoom to the right area rather than this kind of thing. So you can pick the school and park right there, and you can say new parent inspection. So you could say, well, I want to do a new job for today, and you'll type in whatever. I'm just getting the location right now, so it kind of gave me the exact where I am right now. So this is the April 4th daily progress report, something like this. Okay, and you can go to the map if you wanted to. You could kind of relocate yourself where you're sitting. The details, you know, you'd say it's the school, park, landscape, like this. This is all configurable by you. You don't have to. You don't have to do what I'm doing. You can have your own details and photos like this. So what you do is you create this open daily report now. So now you can do your progress inspections, your labor, your equipment, this kind of thing. So if I just head back to the slideshow, just to make sure we're on track here. So once you've got the items added, you're importing from the data. So this is kind of what we did live, right? And again, this is the empty upload and import. This is the result. So you can put in one or more bidders, and then you would award it to somebody just by selecting the award button. Okay, so that's great. The inspection portal itself, we'll just do a quick review of that. You can configure any of the daily inspection forms you want based on your requirements. We will customize it to look and feel like your regional standard or your company standard. And basically, all of these open daily reports will on the mobile device will now appear on your device. So it could be an iPhone or iPad, Android device. The labor and equipment the materials on site. The templates is a big thing. We'll talk about that in a second. You can add all of your information, including the contract items. So rather than do it on the PowerPoint, we'll go to the live view. This is the live view of my phone, okay? And so what we can do is we'll pick I have a couple of templates already prefab, like an excavation crew, sewer crew, visitors. So if I was to pick the excavation crew, I can actually put in different numbers. You know, I could say, well, there was 3 excavators and, you know, 2 front end loaders. There's 1 general laborer. No, we'll say there's more than that. Say there's 5 general laborers and 2 foremen, something like this. And the city rep was available or not available. So this is all configurable by you. So when you hit done, you can then submit. So it goes as one very small message back to the site. So now we've filled in all our labor and equipment. We filled in the location of the report, any, say, you know, materials on type, or materials are on site, or things of this nature. Testing, if you're doing something to do with pressure testing, you can take pictures of things. Okay, so the contract items is where we get to pick from a tender. We just created this park landscape tender. There's actually 2 tenders. That's because it was from another demo, I guess. But the park landscape is what we just imported using Excel. See the site prep and the water main? So that just happened live over this webcast. So if I pick site prep, and so it's literally communicating with the site right now. And these are all of the items. And you can see here, say pre-construction crack condition, you know, you can type, well, they did 15 of those today, right? And so any details for this, you can put in a street name or whatever details you want. The stationing, something like this, any photos, and you can submit just like that. If I added some more contract items, like say from the water main, it's going to get all the water main items, and you can pick it right on your cell phone. So you can say, well, they did 200 of this, you know, on the local road. So you can say, well, maybe they did 100 meters today. And any kind of field notes, added a new line in 4 hours or something. I don't know. Details, and you can put in a kind of this is just random stuff that I'm typing in here. And you can then go ahead and submit. Okay. So this gets done throughout the day. If you have any, say, remarks or comments like this, you could say add some comments, get the location of the comment, and you can just go straight to the map. You don't have to really mess around. The details, you can say excavated the pipe with hydrovac or something like this. And if you want to sign off on something, this is just little options that you can do. The photos, again, here, and submit. So every time you see this, it will do a submission to the website. So if you go back to our website, when you pick daily inspection now, there it is right there. That just happened on the phone on this webcast. So in real time, the project managers are sitting back in the office, and they're watching this inspection being done in real time. Okay? And these are the items we selected right there. If you want to use your laptop, you can go in and pick Edit Inspection. Maybe you don't want to use your phone. Maybe you want to sit in your car where it's comfortable. You can go to the contract items. You can pick to add a tender item, and then there it is. You can pick the park landscape tender, say some more water main items, and this kind of idea. So you can maybe pick remove the existing T. This was they did one of those, you know, removed quickly or something like this. I don't know. And save it. So I've just added that. Same thing with visitors on site or any of these comments, you can add it. These were prefab, part of the tender template, by the way, or the one of these templates here. It automatically put in the comments, by the way. That's pretty cool. So when you go back to here, you can save it, go back to the inspections, and of course, it's all ready to go for reporting. So the reporting piece is you can, if I just grab this one here, you can export it to Excel. You can export the photo reports with the Excel spreadsheet. This is just our generic output. It doesn't actually have a city standard attached to it. So this is pretty basic stuff. And of course, I just tried to open Excel again, and who knows what's going to happen with that. So that's basically the generic output we have. Pretty basic. You can also look at it on the phone. So I don't know if I have my phone up here still, but we'll try it out. And so there's our phone. If you go view PDF report, so if you're looking for a sign off in the field on these items we just imported over the last few minutes, so it literally creates a little PDF version of exactly what you saw on the website. So you could say, hey, does this make sense? And you show it to the contractor, and he says, yeah, that's what we did. So you could get them to sign it off right then and there. We also have a digital approval system through, if I go to edit and send out an email, there's a way that I can, as the inspector, I can mark it as reviewed here. I can send it out to a contractor, request review here. I can mark it off as a supervisor here. So this is definitely what you want to do before you get to progress certification. So you definitely want to track that stuff. Okay, so if I mark it as reviewed, then I say I'm the inspector. So it automatically closes it now. That's important. And I can put in an email of other people, like I said, to get them to review it. So what you'll see on the portal now is that this particular inspection is now closed for editing. And then you get the red icon showing up. This thing here changes color as each person reviews it. So there's a little bit of a feedback system. It's quite good. You can attach photos. You can attach documents. You can basically augment this inspection with any other documents, like say somebody sent you an email and it's got some PDFs in it, so you can do that. So there's the inspection piece. And we'll head back to here. So we got about 5 minutes, 10 minutes left. So we saw all this in action. We're adding from the tender, which is good. The daily progress is an actual job, so they get quite busy. As you can see, all the approvals and everything's taking place here. So this is a real job with hundreds of inspections, tons of photos, hundreds of photos, if not thousands. And this is all done digitally. And that's the City of Toronto output there. So it's very specific to what they want. We did a metadata report for the city, so it shows all your quantities at the end of the week. So that was a custom report. And so you can go through these, and as people approve them, it gets digitally stamped by whoever the approvers are. So that's the other thing, is it's not a signature, but it's more of a digital stamp based on your unique email and password. The payment certificate system, you know, this is the whole value here, is when you collect the data, you'll start to see these little inspection dashboard move. And so if we go to our demo site that we literally just set up, so we go to tenders, and sure enough, we go off to the school and park here. So this is the park landscape that we had done. See how the movement, see what's happening there? So if I was to go to, well, that you can go make a PC right away. So you just go edit payment certificate, and there's no payment certificates right now, but you can click on create new payment certificate. Say this is the April 2018. You can specify right there, say the 1st of April to the 30th of April. Okay, say inspection work for month, something like that, and create. Okay, so now we've got a inspection if I just reselect this, say the April 2018, pick the actual, it's calculating that right now, by the way. And it'll come back with the results in just a second. There it is. So it knows that I did 3 individual quantity inspections, that 3 of them were reviewed internally. In other words, remember I, as the inspector, approved it, but it's still missing approvals from these other ones. So it'll show you all the inspections where they're missing approvals. So this is very important for the contract administrator. It's got a holdback system. And of course, there's, if I click into the actual site prep here, it shows me all of the items that's changed that month. So 15 items this period. If I go under details, it'll show me all the inspections that contributed to that particular item. So it's a full circle feedback into the system. And there it is. So I had done that inspection. There's my stuff. It's been reviewed, but not fully reviewed. And I can go right back to the original inspection now and change things if I had to. There's a new Show History button here. We will be producing a PDF export to show every single modification done to the inspection. And so this is very important for legal reasons. So that's coming along. We're already tracking that now. We just need the export to PDF or Excel. So the inspection details are there. The payment certificate, basically, that's it. I mean, you don't have to do anything else. You just click on the plus button and you click on the Excel button and it produces the payment certificate. So in the last 30 minutes, we went right from 0 to a payment certificate showing all of the items that were inspected for the month. You can add items here in the PC as well if you need to. So there it is there. As far as the details, they're all here. So click on that. So this is your PC right there, all of it. And there's no, there's really no work to do as far as these details reports go. There is a holdback system and a change order system. So you can add a change order. Typically, you would do something in the field, maybe create a form where it had a extra work request. And it's not automatic. You don't do it from the field. You have to come and talk to somebody and get them to approve it. So essentially, within the PC itself, there's a change order button. So I can say this is the CO1 or something like that. So change order 1. And so when you make a change order, it's contemplated here, and you have to add items to it. I mean, right now there's just nothing added to it. So you can hit this table button, and you can say these are the CO items or something like that. So it's like having a little mini tender under the original tender. So you have to set it up. And that's why if you do the rapid entry, then it's super easy because it's just basically you're picking the same thing you picked up when you originally did the original manual entry system here. So it's going to go and add this table to the system. Just give it a second. It's querying the items right now. So there it is there. Sorry about that. Okay. And so you can go ahead and now add items just by hitting create to this thing. So you could literally say, well, we need to add a hydrant or something. So you could say search and add a hydrant. So let me just do a time check. Got just a couple more minutes left. And should have done that. Okay. Or you can just add an item here and type it in. It's really just as simple as that. So you can say install hydrant at 10 plus 250. And you get one of them, it's a lump sum, and the guy's going to charge you $46.75, like that. So if you knew the item code, if you want to just put in a temporary, like a 999 code, that's something sometimes people will put in a separate code for change orders because it's sort of, quickly done. So when you're happy with this, you can go to I don't know why the search didn't work for that. But anyway, we'll go back to this, and you can go back to the original change order, and then you can approve it. So you still have to approve it, and then save. So once it's approved, it'll now appear on the phone. So now you'll get all of these items and the change order items. So you'd sync your phone up, and it would come out on the phone. So the change order thing is just like creating that little mini tender under the original tender. So the payment certificates, if you have any questions, we've got a couple of minutes left, and I can answer them. Implementation this time of year, you can do this on a job starting next week. If you send us your schedule unit prices and agree to the subscription and a little bit of training, we can get you up and running very quickly right now. So we've got guys doing this all day long now, typing in or importing tenders for people, and we can get some training done for the field staff very quickly. And if you call myself or Brock Smith, we can come meet with you or call you on the phone and get it started. So that takes us to the top of the hour, 12:55. Again, if you have any questions, go ahead and email. We're available to answer questions and get things started very quickly. What's the markup software? Are you talking about the PDF markup, Gary? Just unmute it here. Yes, PDF markup. So for now, for the drawing markups, we put in our own PDF markup tool for now. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but you can go to the phone and review a drawing, take a snapshot, and add the markup. So it's literally just taking a drawing PDF, and our server converts it to a format which the phones can read very quickly, and we'll do a finger markup on that. We will release a video that shows you how to do that because it's a pretty popular thing right now, and I got to say, it's just the real dead nut simple way to mark up a PDF. So we've put in our own technology for now. Yeah, thanks, Gary. Well, if there's no more questions, then I will wish you a good weekend, and hopefully we'll talk soon. We'll talk to you later.